time to deal with the cockpit. So I would like to get the cockpit in place before I merge the nose section to the main body, and the reason for that is that I need to know where my smooth flight's gonna go. It could either go here or it could go in this plate. I'm not so sure, but if you look at that plate, with the UAT needing to go there, I have to figure out some stuff. But basically, the only way I can put stuff up here is if I know how deep the cockpit's gonna go, and I can make that decision and determination there. So let's start cockpits. Obviously, the cockpit as it comes from Skyaster is pretty interesting. It obviously will not fit, as you can see. It is up to the builder or the owner of the aircraft to cut and shape it as it needs to get it to work together. So I'm going to need to disassemble all of that, figure out how this guy is going to fit into the spot right here, and then we'll go from there. So I've managed to pull the front section off, and basically there's a little bit of damage. It's not very visible, but a lot of this will be getting cut off anyway. The way I got through here was with a flat head and just very slowly jimmying it off to get the top section off. As I recall from my first Skyaster F-16, I had this part separate from the tub. It just makes fitting the whole thing in the aircraft easy. All the pieces of the cockpit have been taken apart. Now time to start fitting stuff into the jet and seeing how the tub layouts is going to work out. So I have modified the front section here. You can see how I carved this out, and basically my goal was to carve out enough material, obviously remembering that the canopy needs some room to sit on here, but carve out enough material so that the tub can drop in all the way to the bottom, and so I can see how that fit looks like. Let me show you exactly what I mean. And as you can see, it's pretty much flat all around, and that's because of that opening. And so now we can start to fidget with what I need to cut out to get this guy to fit properly. It looks like the end-to-end measurements are pretty good. So you can see that, you know, from this point onto here is roughly the same. I still need to cut some off, but that gives us a good starting point. So now I'm gonna go ahead and see about shaping this cockpit. The first cut, we just took a Sharpie and just drew underneath the plastic here, and I've just cut it. You know, in some parts I overcut, but I know this is okay because, like I said, the cockpit is gonna close down, and so I think I'm gonna wind up taking out all of that, but just getting a better idea of how things fit in, and I'm liking how that's gonna go. So I might take off just a smidge off the front. I want to keep the back as much as possible, because as you can see, that's all this room that I have left is basically that black in the back there. So I'll try not to trim the back. I'm going to try and trim the front. I mean, it fits pretty good as it is right now. Maybe I'll add the hatch space, the space for this guy over here, and then we'll go from there. Markings, so I think that's how I'm gonna cut the canopy. I think I gotta lose that because canopy has to close down in that area, same as this side. So we're gonna cut that off, and then we'll check how the fit looks, and then we'll start worrying about the front section, the front pod, or the dash that goes over here. So we have figured out how I'm gonna mount the cockpit, and basically you can see sort of the Sharpie line drawn here. That's the outline of the cockpit. when it's sitting in the right spot. But I added these pieces of wood here. I'll show you how those are glued in the back. So there's 2 corner pieces here, and then I also added some wood backing the fiberglass up here, and that's what these are. And those are the spots that I'm going to secure the cockpit through. So that's what they look like on the inside. You can see that I put epoxy there to hold everything in place, just to provide some more strength. And if we go to the front section, you can see right here, those are the other pieces that I glued on the front there. So here we have the cockpit, and I'm going to show you what I chose to do to get this to fit in the jet. So first of all, I re-glued this dash piece back onto the tub. In my case, I kind of overcut the front, so I just put this decal over it, and I'm just gonna leave that there. I haven't decided if I'm gonna rework the rest of the dash, but glued this onto the tub with CA. CA seems to work well. And then for these other side pieces, you can see here this piece and that piece are attached, but what I did is I put Velcro on here so that these buttons can just sit in the jet like that. And Velcro is pretty tough stuff. I mean, once these guys are sitting in here, they're not going anywhere. There's a reason they use that stuff in space stations. It's pretty good. So Velcro to hold those in place, to put them in the jet, and those are not coming off. Now, the reason why I chose to do this with Velcro is because the width of this obviously is wider than the entry or the opening where the cockpit is supposed to sit. So in order for me to not have to do some weird gymnastics, having these guys on Velcro means that they can be popped out pretty easily. So that comes off. This guy just gets twisted and can come off, and you know that not a ton of Velcro, just a small amount. And so here's the cockpit, and what I want to show is a couple of things. So how I decided to do this is put Velcro pads on the side, and you can see the reason I did that is because it allows me to be able to pull these pieces off, and then it's much easier to install the cockpit. So you can imagine that if there is a canopy sitting here, you don't have much access, so it probably will open that much, and so you need to be able to slide the cockpit through the front. And having these pieces here makes the cockpit just wide enough that it would be difficult to do that. But having them removable like this is nice, because then you can install them. Well, in my case, you can install them, and then you can slide this. So once the cockpit is dropped in, then I can add, the other controls that go on this side and the front. And the cockpit sits in place, it's not going anywhere. Put the pilot in and close the canopy. Now, you might be wondering, does this work with a canopy? Yes. So I did test this out, and the beauty of this is because this needs a small lean in. So for example, you just need to twist a little bit like that, and it comes out the front. See how this comes out the front like that? So even though there's a canopy that's open right in here, the canopy is open, there's enough room to sneak this in, sort of by going down first like that, and then to the side, and dropping it in. So that's perfect. It works for me really well. Keeps the cockpit in a good space, in good shape, easy to take in, take out. I might decide to put screws in the front, we'll see. But as it is right now with the canopy closed, this is not going anywhere. So the screws in the front, maybe 2 here and 2 here, in the back will just be extra added security.